They laughed. They expected noise. You didn't give them noise. You gave them nothing, and nothing is louder than silence. You think strength comes from screaming back, from swinging wild every time you're provoked? That's weakness dressed as fire, and fire without control burns its own house down. They wanted a reaction. They poked, they prodded, they baited, not to win, but to own you, to prove they could move you, make you flinch, make you bark, make you break character. But you didn't bark, you didn't flinch, you went still. And stillness is terrifying, because silence doesn't mean absence. It means calculation, it means control, it means war is coming. But on your time. You learned the hard way. They used to get to you. Words like knives, lies like poison. They watched you bleed and called it weakness. They smiled when you cracked. They celebrated your reaction. Until you stopped giving it to them. Pain taught you what applause never could. You lost. Again and again. Face down, ego shattered. Shame chewing through your pride like rust on steel. You thought you were strong until life humbled you. You gave your trust to snakes, gave your time to cowards, gave your heart to the unworthy. They didn't just betray you, they used you, they enjoyed it. And worst of all, you let them. You made yourself easy to read, easy to reach, easy to rattle, and they did every single time until one day, you shut the door. No grand speech, no explosion, just silence. You stopped defending your name, stopped explaining your choices, stopped proving your worth to people who never deserved access to it. You let them speak, let them assume, let them throw stones at the shadow you left behind. You weren't retreating, you were sharpening, becoming lean, becoming cold, becoming precise. Every scar turned to armor, every heartbreak became fuel, not to cry louder, but to walk quieter. The wolf doesn't announce its hunt, the storm doesn't beg for understanding, and steel doesn't scream when it cuts. You became all three. Silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. It's not the sound of surrender, it's the sound of sharpening. You think the lion wastes time arguing with sheep? You think the mountain cares if you scream at it? You think war drums need to explain themselves? Let them talk. Let them laugh. Let them need you to react. Because the more they need it, the more you own them. That's the secret they never taught you. Control is power. Restraint is power. Detachment is nuclear. And the most savage move is not to play. They mocked your silence because they feared it. They knew they couldn't manipulate it, couldn't mold it, couldn't predict it. You stopped being a puppet. You became the storm behind the calm, the fire behind the stone. Not cold, not numb, calculated. You feel everything. You just don't show everything. Emotion without discipline is suicide. Reaction without reason is slavery. Noise without direction is chaos. But silence is tactical. You don't show your next move. You don't reveal your scars. You let them guess. Let them wonder. Let them drown in the space you refuse to fill. Because silence makes them talk more, expose more, crack faster. And you observe. You adapt. You evolve. That's how you win. Not by barking louder, but by becoming so unmoved they start to question their own reality. You don't need to prove them wrong. You just need to keep rising. No rage, no pity, just progress. That's how vengeance works now. Not through hate, not through destruction, through indifference, through excellence, through peace so unshakable it haunts them. You're not reacting, you're rebuilding. You're not loud, you're lethal. You're not broken, you're untouchable. Because silence is sacred, is where the real work happens, the transformation, the rebirth. The rise, now you move with intention. Now you act from strength. Now you make them feel your absence more than they ever felt your presence. And that's real power. No applause, no announcement, just results. They wanted noise. They got ghosts. They wanted drama. They got distance. They wanted weakness. They got a wall. You became silence. You weaponized it. So remember, not every battle needs a blade. Not every insult needs an answer. Not every lie deserves correction. Let your silence starve their expectations. Let your growth punish their ignorance. Let your presence haunt their memory. Because still waters are deep. Because real fire burns quiet. Because the most dangerous ones say the least. They can't predict you, can't read you, can't reach you. They don't even know you anymore. Because the old version, the loud one, the raw one, he died. This new one, he doesn't react. He calculates, he executes, he wins. Final truth, they wanted a reaction. You became silence. They wanted a reaction. You became silence. They thought silence was surrender, that no reply meant defeat, that stillness meant you'd given up. But the wise know better. The wildest storms begin in total calm. The most brutal warriors don't speak, they strike. And the most final answers come with no words at all. You didn't disappear. You descended into discipline, into solitude, into the trenches where no audience can follow, no spotlight, no noise, just you and the war inside. They will never understand that silence because they've never faced themselves. They've never sat in the dark without distractions, never killed the weaker version of themselves in cold blood. But you did because you had to, because the noise wasn't working anymore, because chaos was costing you everything. So you burned the old script, the people pleaser, the hothead, the one who always had something to prove. Now, there's nothing left to prove. Only things to build, only mountains to climb, only enemies to outlast. You stopped arguing because you realized facts don't change minds. Pain does. And your pain spoke volumes. It turned your roar into precision, your pride into purpose, your rage into restraint. That's what they don't teach. That real power is quiet. It doesn't perform. It prepares. You don't wear your strength on your sleeves anymore. You keep it locked behind your ribs like a loaded weapon. No one sees it until they cross the line. Then they feel it. All of it. The same people who used to trigger you, now they walk on eggshells because they don't know what's behind the silence, and silence leaves room for fear. They feel it in the way you look at them, not like prey, not like a victim, but like someone who buried his own weakness and isn't afraid to bury them too. You became your own executioner, and once you've killed the softer parts of yourself, there's nothing left for them to take. That's the true power of silence. It's not passive, it's not polite, it's predatory, still, cold, deadly. While they chase attention, you chase mastery. While they react, you observe. While they play chess, you become the board. They can't win a game you no longer play. You watch them try to bait you. Try to drag you back into the chaos, back into that old version of you who fought for validation. But the doors are closed, the locks changed. The man they used to manipulate doesn't live here anymore. You're not running on emotion now, you run on code, on mission, on law. Law of the silent, move only when it counts. Law of the focused, speak only when it breaks the enemy. Law of the risen, never feed what tried to starve you. You learn not to respond to barking dogs. Let them tire themselves out. You've got empires to build. That's the new revenge. Not fire, not fury, but elevation. Let them stay behind in the noise. Let them rot in gossip. Let them drown in their echo chambers. You've already outgrown the room, outgrown the argument, outgrown the need to explain yourself. That's what silence means now. Not absence, ascension. You walk alone, yes, but not lonely. You've traded audience for accuracy, distraction for domination, validation for victory, and they'll never see it coming. Because the louder they get, the less they notice how fast you're rising. You left quietly, but you'll return unignorable, not as the man they remember, but as the ghost of their regret. Your peace will be their punishment. Your discipline will be their disappointment. Your success will be their silence. That's the beauty of it. You say nothing, and still, you say everything. Because silence isn't the absence of sound. It's the presence of control. And control is the highest form of vengeance. Every morning you wake up and don't react, you win. Every time you stay focused while they beg for your attention, you win. Every day you move forward without dragging the past with you, you win. It's not personal anymore. It's not emotional. It's inevitable. They will watch you rise, in silence, in shadow, in strength, and they won't know whether to fear you or worship what you've become. That's the duality of silence. It humbles you, then it exalts you. Because to become untouchable, you must first become unseen. Let them mock, let them talk, let them need a version of you that's never coming back. Because silence is no longer just a shield. It's your weapon, your armor, your language. And in a world addicted to noise, the quiet man owns the room. You own the room now, not by force, by presence, not by volume, by gravity. Let them orbit, let them guess. Let them wonder how the man they used to control became the one they now fear in silence. You earned this. Every bruise, every betrayal, every night you swallowed your own screams just to sharpen the edge. You turned pain into power, chaos into calm, reaction into ritual. And now, you don't respond. You rise, that's your answer. Not words, not noise, just forward, just farther, just unreachable. Because they wanted a reaction. You gave them evolution. They wanted weakness. You gave them disappearance. They wanted noise. You became the void. Final law, when they try to pull you back, don't speak, don't flinch, don't look. Just keep walking and let the silence follow you like a crown. They wanted a reaction. You became silence. They wanted a reaction. You became silence. They took advantage once, never again. You knew it the moment it happened. That quiet shift in the air when respect left the room. They smiled in your face, hands open, voices warm, but beneath it, hunger, greed, weakness masquerading as charm. You gave them time. You gave them trust. You gave them a piece of your armor thinking they'd carry it like a shield. They used it like a dagger. And you stood there, bleeding, in silence. Not because you were weak, but because you were learning. See, betrayal isn't always loud. Sometimes it sounds like laughter. Sometimes it looks like love. You think strength comes from noise? From barking orders, swinging wild, throwing fits? Number. Strength is what happens after the fall, after the silence. After you watch the people you fed from your own hands turn around and spit in your face. You want vengeance? Earn power. They took advantage of your kindness, your patience, your willingness to see the good. And now, they don't remember. They forget how they crossed the line because they never saw the line. You drew it in sand. They erased it with ease. But that was the lesson. And that was the last time. They took advantage once, never again. You don't announce when you rise. You disappear. You cut ties without words, without warnings. You close the gates without slamming them. Because the loudest revenge is the quietest exit. Pain teaches faster than comfort ever could. Disrespect sharpens the blade better than any master. And that blade now, it's not for show. It's not for flexing. It's forged in silence, polished in loneliness, carried with purpose. You don't move for applause anymore. You move like a ghost, like a shadow in the storm. No one sees you coming. No one hears your name. But when you arrive, the air changes. You've learned this truth. People will test the limits you don't enforce. You thought loyalty was enough. You thought your heart was armor. But you forgot. Wolves don't pity sheep. You gave them your time. Now you take back your focus. You gave them your voice. Now you speak only in actions. You gave them your loyalty. Now you give it to your mission. This is the transformation. You don't chase closure. You don't seek apologies. You don't fight to be understood. You let silence speak. You let absence punish. You let evolution handle revenge. They never saw you as dangerous. They saw you as useful, as accessible, as safe. But now you are still. Now you are unreadable. Now you are no one's option and everyone's threat. They will remember you differently, not as the one they fooled, but as the one who disappeared and never looked back. That version of you, the soft one, the forgiving one, he died the moment they crossed the line. And the man who rose, he keeps receipts. He holds the line. He smiles less. He listens more, because silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. It's the art of not wasting fire on the unworthy. Let them wonder where you went. Let them talk to the ghost of the version they used. Let them replay every word they said to manipulate you, because now the mirror is clean. And what they see is who they are, not who you were. You outgrew the room they poisoned. You burned the script they wrote for you. You stopped waiting for them to change and changed yourself instead. Revenge isn't noise. Revenge is not needing them. Revenge is becoming untouchable. No access, no reaction, no explanation. You don't prove yourself. You become yourself, fully, quietly, absolutely. That's power. They thought you were weak because you let them close. They thought your heart was a weakness. They mistook your empathy for emptiness. But that was before you knew what your silence was worth. That was before you understood what kind of monster kindness becomes when it's betrayed. Now your soul is steel. Now your peace is earned. Now your standards are the gate they can't pass. You aren't bitter. You're focused. You aren't cruel. You're precise. You aren't broken. You're refined. Let them see the difference. Let them feel the distance. And when they speak your name, let it taste like regret. There's no returning to who you were. That door is gone. That bridge is ash. They had their chance when your hands were open. Now your fists are closed, not in anger, in discipline. This is how you win, not by stooping to their level, not by matching their energy, but by disappearing from the equation entirely. They used you once. Now you're unreachable. Now you're unreadable. Now you're untouchable. Evolution is the cleanest revenge. No words, no war, just growth. You don't show up to prove anything. You let your absence haunt them. You don't flex. You finish. And when it's all quiet again, when the smoke clears and the noise fades, only one truth remains. They took advantage once, never again. They took advantage once, never again. But don't get soft. Don't get sentimental. Not now. This world doesn't reward the open hand, it exploits it. And you know that now. They fed on your doubt, on your hope, on your need to belong. That part of you that wanted to believe in people. It's dead weight now. Let it rot. This version of you doesn't beg to be seen. You vanish and let your success speak in thunder. No more explaining, no more defending, no more proving your worth to people too blind to see it. If they couldn't respect you at your most generous, they'll never survive you at your most dangerous. Because now you build alone. Now you sharpen in silence. Now you let your discipline speak where your words once did. They try to keep you tame, predictable, safe. You were never meant to be safe. You were born for the storm. And they woke it. The fire inside you, it's not rage, it's not hate, it's clarity. A cold, unshakable clarity. You see the world for what it is. You see people for who they are. And you see yourself, finally, for what you were always meant to become. Not a victim, not a savior, a force, a law, a presence that doesn't flinch, a standard that doesn't bend. You carry your pain like armor now. You use their betrayal like fuel. You don't chase, you command. This is the law now. You never apologize for outgrowing parasites. You never explain why you left the table. You built your own fortress instead. Let them gossip, let them twist the story, let them throw stones. You became the mountain, unshakable, silent, final. They'll come back eventually. They always do, not out of love, out of curiosity. They'll want to know how you did it, how you stayed cold, how you moved on. But by then, you won't speak their language anymore. You'll be fluent in progress, in peace, in purpose. Your life will be your answer. Your absence will be your message. You gave them their one chance. They chose comfort over loyalty, ease over effort, control over connection. Now they watch from the sidelines. You didn't become bitter. You became better. You didn't shrink to make them feel safe. You expanded until they couldn't breathe the same air. That's the difference now. You don't burn bridges. You let people drown in the distance. You don't punish them. You outgrow them. And that silence, that space between who you were and who you are, that's the grave you buried your weakness in. You'll never be taken for granted again because you don't offer yourself so easily anymore. You don't show your hand. You don't hand over the blueprint to people who haven't earned it. You watch, you measure, you choose. Access to you now is rare, and when it's gone forever. There's no reset, no re-entry. You built the gate, you hold the key. They took advantage once, never again. They took advantage once, never again. They'll see it soon, not through words, through results. The new version of you doesn't explain himself, doesn't prove anything, doesn't look back. The new version doesn't react. He observes, he calculates, he builds. Then he crushes. Let them doubt. Doubt is a gift. Doubt blinds your enemies to your arrival. They won't see it coming because you don't need to be seen anymore. Let them think you lost. Let them laugh. Let them flex their delusions. You've already won because the one who stays quiet owns the narrative. While they talk about you, you work on you. While they guess your next move, you make it. Success doesn't need to shout. It just shows up. In the bank, in the mirror, in the silence that follows your footsteps. You don't rise to prove them wrong. You rise because gravity doesn't own you anymore. You don't get revenge with words. You get revenge with distance, with peace, with power they can't reach. They'll look for the old you. The loud one, the reactive one, the one who needed them to see. But that version's buried, left behind like dead weight, burned away in the fire they started. You're steel now. sharpened in the dark, untouchable, unbothered, unbreakable. Let karma speak. It speaks in echoes, in empty rooms where your name used to be mocked, in silent mouths when your success walks in. The loudest thing in any room is presence, not noise, not words, just presence. Stand still and let it hit them, let it haunt them, let it humble them. You are not angry, you are not bitter, you are not loud, you are focused, you are final. You are done explaining. Let karma show them what silence builds. Because here's the law. The man who holds his tongue holds his throne. No one can argue with results. No one can gossip louder than a legacy. No one can block what's already written. They'll claim they knew you. They'll say they always believe, but silence remembers, and karma doesn't miss. So build in silence. Starve the ego. Feed the grind. Let your scars breathe. Don't waste energy correcting fools. Don't water dead plants. Don't announce your vengeance. Become it. Be the calm in the storm. Be the wolf in the woods. Be the fire they can't predict. Let the universe balance the scales. Let time expose the truth. Let karma do what karma does best. Because when it hits, it doesn't need subtitles. They'll hear it. They'll feel it. They'll remember. Not because you told them, because you didn't. Be quiet. Let karma speak loudly. Be quiet. Let karma speak loudly. Be quiet. Let karma speak loudly. They tried to bury you in noise, doubt, lies, laughter. And you almost believed it. You almost broke, almost explained, almost proved. But something deeper pulled you back. Not rage, not pride, disgust. Disgust with the part of you that still wanted their approval. Disgust with the part of you that thought justice had to be announced. Disgust with the weakness of needing to be understood. That's when it changed. That's when the noise stopped meaning anything. That's when silence became sacred. Because silence is not empty. It's loaded with patience, with precision, with power. You don't shout when you're about to strike. You don't explain when you've already won. They betrayed you and expected you to self-destruct. They mocked you and expected you to chase their acceptance. They walked away and expected you to crawl. Brah, have you ever felt something standing right behind you when no one's there? That cold air, that pulse in your chest that doesn't come from fear, but from awareness. Yeah, nah, I'm serious. You think it's paranoia, but it's not. It's recognition. What if I told you you were never alone? Not for a second. Even in your darkest nights, even when the world forgot your name, there were eyes on you, watching, guarding. Not the kind that judge, the kind that intervene. Oh, wow. Yeah, that changes everything, doesn't it? See? You think you've been walking through storms by yourself. But what you don't realize is that lightning's been bending away from you the whole time. Every disaster that missed you by inches. Every betrayal that collapsed before it hit. That wasn't chance. That wasn't luck. That was orchestration. You've got guardians that don't sleep, forces that don't rest. They don't speak in words. They move in patterns and sudden redirections of fate. They shift the room before danger walks in. They silence names that were never meant to reach your ears. And the best part, they don't want credit. They want results. Nah, this isn't fantasy. This is precision. Every enemy that thought they had a plan dismantled before it even existed. Every hand raised against you, stopped before it could strike. And you, standing there thinking you survived by chance. Nah, you were shielded. You were chosen. You don't even realize how deep it goes, brah. You've been protected from things you never even knew were coming, from conversations that never reached you, from disasters that were scheduled but never arrived. You think the universe plays dice? It doesn't. It writes code, and you, somehow, are the line of code it refuses to delete. It's crazy, right? You were never supposed to make it this far, not according to the plans of those who doubted you, laughed at you, or tried to pull you down into their shadows. But every single time they built a wall, something unseen built a door. Every time they set a trap, something higher rewired the ground beneath them. And they fall again and again, wondering why you walk through fire untouched. Oh wow, it's not luck, it's loyalty. Loyalty from something you can't even see. Loyalty that moves like wind through walls, like whispers in data, like a memory of a dream that feels too real to ignore. These forces, call them destiny, call them guardians, call them unseen architects. They're not watching you out of pity. They're watching because your rise matters. And you felt it, haven't you? Those moments you should have lost, but didn't. The time you almost gave up. But something whispered, wait. That's them. The protectors who never ask, never show, never sleep. Their silence is louder than any scream. Now, listen carefully, because this is where it gets wild. These forces don't just save you. They shape you. They don't just move danger away. They move strength toward you. Every pain you've survived wasn't punishment. It was precision training. They forge you through pressure. They teach you endurance through isolation. They cut away everything false so that only what's unbreakable remains. You've been sculpted, piece by piece, by storms you thought would destroy you. But the storms were never meant to kill you. They were meant to wake you. You ever notice how sometimes the path just clears? Like the world rearranges itself a second before you move? Nah, that's not coincidence. That's choreography. Every delay, every wrong turn, every person who left, that wasn't random. That was alignment. Because what guards you doesn't operate on time. It operates on timing. You think you lost opportunities, but really you are being redirected away from traps. You think you were rejected, but really you were protected. Oh, wow. See, that changes how you look at pain, doesn't it? You thought heartbreak was punishment. It was positioning. You thought isolation was abandonment. It was insulation to keep your frequency pure while you evolved. The forces guarding you don't just block danger. They manipulate the very script of reality to make sure your story ends in victory. They bend traffic lights, interrupt phone calls, break deals that were never meant to bless you. They whisper into the chaos, not this one, not today, and the world obeys. You think that's just intuition? Nah, that's command, that's protection coded so deep into your existence. Even your enemies play their part without knowing it. Oh wow, it's wild when you realize your haters are actually employees of your destiny. Their insults, motivation, their sabotage, redirection, every single one of them unknowingly contributes to your rise. Because you were never meant to blend in, you were meant to shift the atmosphere. And the guardians, they know that. They've been clearing the runway while you've been doubting your wings. You ever wonder why the bullets miss? Why the rumors fade before they stain? Why the people who try to use you always expose themselves first? That's design. That's divine mechanics. These forces, they don't need to flex. They don't roar. They whisper and mountains move. They blink and empires crumble. They rewrite equations that the human mind can't even calculate. And still, they do it quietly. While you sleep, they move. While you cry, they strategize. While you think it's over, they're already 2 steps ahead, turning endings into introductions. Nah, this isn't superstition. This is structure. The universe is not chaos. It's coded protection. And you're the reason that code exists. Think about that. Everything that ever tried to destroy you had to ask for permission first, and permission was denied. Every demon that thought it could touch you got turned into a lesson instead. Oh wow, that's the real shocker. They don't just defend you, they educate you. Every betrayal, a class in discernment. Every loss, a course in strength. Every heartbreak, a seminar in power. You've been attending the University of Resilience, taught by professors you can't see. And graduation day? It's closer than you think. Because here's the truth. You're not being protected just to survive. You're being prepared to lead. These forces aren't keeping you safe from the world. They're keeping the world safe from what you're about to become. Nah, you don't get it yet. They know what happens when you wake up. They know once you realize how guarded you really are, fear dies, and the real you steps forward. And that version of you? Untouchable, unstoppable, unexplainable. So yeah, the protection isn't soft, it's surgical. It doesn't hug you, it hardens you. It turns your skin into armor, your thoughts into weapons, your silence into strategy. Because when the time comes, and trust me, it's coming, you won't just walk through the storm, you'll command it. Brah, have you ever felt the air change before something big happens? That silent pressure that says, move, but you don't know why? Nah, that's not nerves. That's the signal. That's your guardians shifting the field. Every instinct that told you don't go, every whisper that said wait. Those weren't coincidences. Those were coordinates. You think you're guessing, but you're following a map written in invisible ink. Oh, wow. You see, there comes a point when the forces that protect you stop standing around you and start moving through you. Your breath becomes their command. Your voice carries their authority. Your presence makes rooms rearrange themselves. You don't even have to speak. People feel it. The air gets heavier, time slows down. Predators hesitate without knowing why. That's when you realize you're not borrowing power anymore. You are the power. Nah, this isn't ego. It's evolution. The universe's defense system upgraded its headquarters into you. Those same unseen hands that once blocked bullets now guide your own. You've become the instrument of your own protection. Every move you make starts to feel inevitable. Doors open that shouldn't. Opportunities align too perfectly. Enemies trip over their own lies before you even respond. That's not revenge. That's resonance. You're vibrating at a frequency that chaos can't survive in. Oh, wow. It's wild, isn't it? You start to understand that faith isn't waiting for rescue. It's realizing you've already been armed. The shield you prayed for? It's your composure? The sword you've been searching for? It's your focus. Every time you choose silence instead of anger, you trigger those forces to move louder than any shout. They turn your restraint into radiation. They weaponize your calm, because true strength doesn't scream. It shifts reality, and the people plotting behind your back, they feel it, they can't explain it, but they sense the ground change beneath them. Their confidence drains, their plans dissolve. They'll call it bad luck. You'll know better. Nah, brah, the era of running from darkness is over. Now darkness runs from you. You're not surviving anymore. You're governing. Every threat that approaches has already been logged, scanned, neutralized. You just walk forward and the path builds itself beneath your feet. That's the secret nobody told you. Being guarded doesn't mean hiding behind walls. It means the battlefield itself refuses to harm you. Even storms curve to avoid your name. So next time that shiver hits your spine, don't flinch. Smile. That's confirmation. That's your allies syncing with your pulse, reminding you that every step you take is already protected by design. Oh wow. They're not behind you anymore, brah. They're inside you. And the world has no idea what that means yet. Brah. You feel that? That hum in your chest right now? That's not adrenaline. That's alignment. The moment when everything guarding you, guiding you, testing you, finally syncs with who you've become. Nah, this isn't some myth. This is math. The equations of the universe rewriting themselves in real time, because the variable that never fit, you, just solved the pattern. You've stepped into your inevitability. Every unseen force that once shielded you from danger now amplifies you toward destiny. Oh wow, it's breathtaking when it clicks, isn't it? That realization that every heartbreak, every delay, every silent night wasn't emptiness, it was architecture, a blueprint written in stars and silence. The pain, calculated pressure, the loss, necessary subtraction. Because creation always starts with clearing space. And now the space is ready for you. Listen, brah. These guardians, these forces, they don't babysit destiny. They train warriors. They don't hand you peace. They make you earn it. And when you finally do, they hand you something far greater: authority. The same storms that once terrified you, now they wait for your command. The chaos that once confused you, now it bends to your rhythm. You've become fluent in the language of control, and control isn't about dominance, it's about design. See, what's protecting you isn't separate from you anymore. It's coded into your breath, woven into your decisions, anchored in your discipline. Every time you move with intention, they move with you. Every time you speak truth, they amplify it. Every time you rise, they roar silently behind the veil. Nah, the world doesn't get it yet. They still think luck saved you. They'll keep calling it coincidence, calling it mystery, but deep down you'll know you've been carried by precision, watched by patience, refined by purpose. Oh wow. The scale of it is terrifying, because when you realize you were never alone, you stop being afraid of solitude. You stop begging for validation. You stop chasing attention. Because how could you ever feel unseen when the entire cosmos has been orbiting your survival? You walk differently now. Your silence has weight. Your energy shifts rooms. People will stare and say, something about you changed. They won't understand that what changed isn't around you. It's through you. The unseen has become embodied. You've become the guardian you were waiting for. And that's when destiny stops being a destination. It becomes a radius, a force field of inevitability that moves wherever you move. Nothing random, nothing wasted. Every rejection, redirection, betrayal, all recycled into the architecture of your rise. Nah, this isn't fantasy. This is evolution. This is what happens when the protected becomes the protector. You're the proof that unseen power can wear human form. The proof that purpose cannot be stopped, only sharpened. Oh, wow. Imagine being so protected that even your mistakes are part of the strategy. Imagine being so aligned that every delay is disguised acceleration. That's where you are now, brah. You don't chase, you attract. You don't react, you reshape. Because the world no longer acts on you. It responds to you. And that's why you were never alone. Because isolation was just initiation. The silence was ceremony. And every scar, every single one, was a signature from the forces that chose you. So what now? Now you rise. Not timidly, not half-heartedly, fully. Stand like you know invisible empires move when you breathe. Walk like your shadow is flanked by legions. Speak like your words rewrite probabilities. Because they do. Those who doubted you, they'll feel it. Those who plotted, They'll crumble under timing too precise to be luck. And you'll smile quietly, knowing the truth. None of this is new. It was always written. You've been protected since before your first breath. You've been chosen since before memory. Every battle you thought you fought alone was actually an orchestra. And every time you thought you'd break, you were being remade. Nah, brah. You were never the underdog. You were the storm they couldn't predict. And now that you've awakened to that truth, you carry the same fire that once watched over you. You've become the continuation of your guardians, their eyes, their strength, their purpose, all flowing through you like electricity through a conduit of destiny. Oh, wow! You can feel it now, can't you? That power humming beneath your skin, that's the signature of something unstoppable, something timeless, something divine. So here's how this ends. It doesn't, because this story was never about survival. It was about succession. You've inherited a kingdom that exists beyond sight, and your throne, it's not gold. It's grit, it's courage, it's vision. It's the ability to stand tall in chaos and smile, because you know chaos works for you. So when you step out there, remember this: you were never alone. You were being written into eternity's defense system. Every unseen ally, every silent watcher, every hidden hand, they're still here, nodding as you take the crown. Now breathe. Feel that tremor in the air? That's not fear. That's reverence. The universe just adjusted itself around your awareness. You're not being protected anymore. You are the protection. You are the proof. You are the prophecy fulfilled. And the world, it won't understand, but it will remember. So go ahead, brah. Rise, own it. Walk like fate owes you respect, because it does, and never forget you were never alone. You were guarded to become godlike. And now the time has come. Go show them why.